To our series, Donna Talks, where our girl Donna sits down for some candid conversations with folks from all walks of life.
And today's roundtable is a timely one, especially as we celebrate Pride Month.
Yes, it is. We gathered together a few people from the LGBTQ community across generations who shared their own personal stories of identity, acceptance, and resilience. And I wanted to give them a platform to share their truth. Take a look.
During the month of June, millions of Americans are celebrating Pride. In 2021, 20.8% of Gen Z Americans who have reached adulthood identified as LGBTQ+, which has nearly doubled since 2017. So how has modern LGBTQIA+ identity transformed? We wanted to ask the questions and, most importantly, listen, along with Jody Patterson, an author, activist, and mom to a trans teenage son who is the inspiration behind a children's book, Sam Ames, the Director of Advocacy and Government Affairs at the Trevor Project, who identifies as non-binary and transmasculine, and 70-year-old lesbian couple Paulette and Pat Martin, whose paths brought them together 6 years ago. Let's get to talking.
When did you declare your identity?
Honestly, I'm not sure I did. There absolutely was a moment late in life when I needed to explain to people what was going on, but for most of my life, I just sort of was who I was. It was very clear from a very young age that I was not like a girl. For me, it wasn't about choosing a box. It was about taking the lid off and living in the light.
Jody, I see you nodding your head a lot. And tell me about your experience as a mom to Penel.
At 3, at the time, Penelope said to me the most unbelievable words. Mama, I'm not a girl, I'm a boy. My child knew who he was early on. I had to catch up.
Pat and Paulette, you two came out later in life.
I knew that I did not fit into any category that was being presented to me. I'm going to stuff it down. I'm going to ignore the feelings. I was married, so I ceased being myself and becoming cold and bitter and not sharing the deepest part of my heart, not even truly with my children.
When you came out, what did you gain?
Myself.
I actually knew that I was interested in women at the age of 5. My mother was totally homophobic, so I was suppressing the feeling. At the age of 17, when I graduated from school, I handed my grandmother my diploma, went into the bathroom, took off the last dress I ever wore, put on my suit. I was such an angry young person because I couldn't be who God had made me to be.
Sam, I know that you've spoken a lot about how kids these days have more language than you did growing up. As someone who identifies as non-binary and transmasculine, can you explain those terms a little bit in that vocabulary?
Non-binary is essentially a recognition that, like most things on this earth, gender is a spectrum. There are many, many layers and nuances between. There is this beautiful reclaiming possible when we create more language, when we acknowledge that this language has power.
People don't want to make a mistake, so they choose silence. What should someone do if they misuse a pronoun or misgender someone, if they make a mistake?
Apologize and keep it moving.
That's right. I'm trans and I still slip up on pronouns. You're gonna mess up sometimes. Move on with respect and love, and you get better over time.
What have you noticed about the similarities and differences between Gen Z, your generation, older generations?
Trans and non-binary young people say that having just one person or a few people in their life respect their pronouns decreases their suicide risk by as much as 50%. That is enormous. It is an easy, easy thing.
What is something that everyone can do, whether you are in the LGBTQ plus community or not, that can educate, inform, and support?
We need to be listening to those who are different from us, and we need to be asking the questions. How can I be an ally? It is not to probe into someone's life. It is to assert that you are on the right side. of things, that you want to be a part of the solution.
Have more conversations, attend more events, keep your mouth closed, ears open.
There's this concern that it's a fad or it's trendy or something. I want to say there have always been exactly the same number of LGBTQ people in any given society as there are now. What we have now is language to describe it.
What do you want the younger generation to know about your experience?
Be proud.
Yeah.
Be proud of who you are. Live proudly 365 days a year.
365 days a year.
Beautiful conversation.
It was really amazing.
important.
For more stories like this, head to today.com/pride, and I hope you do.
And really, really awesome. And we'll be back right after this.